very loyal community of listeners as well as independent artists who are glad to be supported the way you have been supporting me and others, and it's just been a thrill to see that happen, and to see you do that now, with PromoteTheMusic.com. I mean, you're taking the whole thing, the whole concept to a very new level, to a level I couldn't have foreseen in a year. I mean, a year ago. I really had basically. I just put my faith and trust in what you were about to come up with, and here we are with PromoteTheMusic.com. It's phenomenal.
Well, thank you. No, it's like it's a work in progress. It's happening on a daily basis. We create the vision and we backtrack. That's effective thinking. You work on the vision and then you work backtrack. And guys like you've been extremely supportive, supporting your music. I appreciate that so much because it's quality music. I love it. It's anyways. It's,
well, thank you.
It's all about the people, and you're passionate because I watch your posts on Facebook, and you're a passionate individual. So as an indie artist, again, I'm not in your world. And I don't want to be in your world. I want to be in this world so we can complement each other. But what are some of the challenges that you've experienced personally, and maybe in talking with other indie artists, that they can echo your sentiments? What are some of the biggest problems that you're facing?
Well, time is one problem. I mean, time, budget, and efficiency, basically. It all boils down to doing things as efficiently as possible. There's only so much time in a day that you can, allocate to promoting yourself. You write your song, you write your own material, you record it, you record the instruments. I'm doing at the moment, I'm doing everything all by myself. To be all honest with you, the recording, the songwriting, the producing, the getting it out there, all of it has to happen by me. And when you do that all by yourself, and I see a lot of independent artists being in the same or similar situation. Some have a little bit help from very loyal and dedicated online friends, and so do I. But there's only so much you can do in a day, and the challenge is to use time efficiently. And efficiency is the key word I would like to highlight here. Especially with regards to what we can do, and I believe, not only do I believe under NDA, but I have seen some of the ideas you bring to the table in terms of that, and I think that's going to benefit us tremendously.
Oh, very good. Yeah, time efficiency. You feel like an octopus at times, right? I mean,
exactly.
I know the feeling is like doing the show is like, yeah, I got the background, I got people like Dave helping me technically with the server, which you've introduced me to just a few weeks ago, and I didn't know how I was going to set up new servers. And through you, networking, again, the power of networking and collaboration, we get more done faster. So I'm with you on that. So I'm not an artist, but there's a lot to do in a day. And hold on, McAfee's trying to do weird stuff to my computer here. No way, they're not doing that. Okay, so yeah, so you're working on collaborations, you're working on new music as well?
Yeah, I do. Absolutely. Yeah, every day. I mean, every day I practice. I record. I do whatever I can every day on a daily basis. And like I said, there's only so much you can do in a day, and you have to put your mind to it, that you use your time wisely and efficiently. And it's almost, I mean, you mentioned spiritual concepts. Well, it becomes spiritual naturally in the process. You want to use your time as best as you can with what you're given. So that's, by the way, since you mentioned Dave, I would like to say thanks to Dave. Also, Dave Merton is his name. He's on Facebook. He's a tech buff. He's very knowledgeable about technology. I mean, people like him, for example, and all the supporters I have on Facebook, they have been really pulling for me and helping me through with a couple of setbacks. And we all are just human beings. You get emotional in the process, and then there are people who just pull you through, and I would like to give a shout out to Dave and all the many supporters on my Facebook wall that have been rooting for me. So thanks a lot for that.
Dave's amazing, and I've only known him like a couple of weeks, and we spent a lot of time. It seems like everything is a spiritual experience. I mean, the process of creation of music, you channel it's spiritual, but the process of life. And so if we can bring that energy into what we're doing here with the right people, I think we will surprise ourselves even by the time we officially launch it in February. And let's future pace a year from now. I mean, you and I, again, in our conversation in October last year, never could have imagined. We weren't talking HD. We weren't talking, 3-camera shoots out of a home studio. We weren't.
There you go.
We weren't talking about the Tina Clarks of the world showing up and bringing their skill. Again, but good energy attracts good energy, and unfortunately, sometimes it attracts the other energy that we don't want, but that keeps you sharp. And we honor that too. So now I'm delighted. I'm so delighted to play your music. We'll be featuring a little bit more of your music later and part of the show. And so what can we do? I'm going to ask you a question openly. We've talked about a lot of things, but maybe you've been thinking, what are some of the things we can do at promotethemusic.com for independent artists that you need, that you absolutely need, that maybe we haven't thought of?
Well, one big relief would be if I was able to, what's the word here? To give some of the work to people I trust, people I feel comfortable with. If some of the daily day-to-day grind, as it were, could be helped with by people who are as passionate about the music as you and I are, and your listeners and our community already is. If some of that could be, being taken care of by people who we trust, I have to reiterate, that would be a tremendous relief.
What kind of work?
Getting some of the time back and freeing some of the time that goes into building the community, staying afloat with your exposure and stuff like that. If that could be taken care of by helpful people, that would be a tremendous relief.
Right, so joint ventures or, delegation. But what kind of work are you referring to from an artist? So I'm very clear because, we're only a few degrees separation from getting anything done. There's a lot of things I don't know how to do, but you put it out and, one person Facebook introduces you to someone else, and here we are. So what kind of work as an artist are you looking to delegate?
Well, the multiplying effect of, for example, okay, here's the deal. When I'm finished with a song, when it's ready for release, when it can go out there to the digital stores and all the online outlets, after that, it would just, by itself, it would just sit there. That's when the real hard work starts, actually. You have to stay in touch with your listeners. You have to make sure that they know that you're around, that you keep working. As we're locked into a world that relies on monetary exchange, you also need to make sure that some of the investment in time, and we're using technology that costs some money. Some of that money at least comes back so you can break even. While I'm saying that, that is also something we need to look at. Let's just face it; it's just a fact. We live in this world. So the multiplying effect of distributing your music and getting it out there and getting the word out for you, that would be a tremendous help. Yes.
So basically, if the marketing, the posting, the following up, staying in touch with the people are responsible for creating awareness, and you're right, it costs money. Again, part of our model where we reward the fans, a lot of your fan base will do that, on a voluntary basis. But what I've learned, when you only have a volunteer army, they put your project on the back burner. They always put what creates the money for them first. And, when you're in a state of urgency, so we're creating a mechanism where the fans get rewarded, through productivity. Again, we'll talk about that a little later. There's so much here to try to share in one show, but it's impossible. But we are working. That's why rewards financially for the music lover is important. You need a personal assistant. That's what you need, that you can delegate work to and focus on creating the music, recording the music.
Yeah, that wouldn't hurt.
Yeah.
Speaking of rewards, it is rewarding to me in itself. Being creative and being able to do that and have the means to do that is rewarding in itself. Unfortunately, I can't take that reward and present my landlord with it and say, well, I feel so rewarded, please let me live here, So that's what always ties back into some monetary exchange. And I'm happy whenever I sell one file, when there's a new download and I see the transaction reports, I'm happy about that. There's no doubt. But of course, it cannot be. It would be nice to see, to see it gain some momentum. So that is also in the long run something that needs to be looked at. Apparently, it takes time to build things up. But what I see already in place, and I would like to highlight that for all of us. Actually, I've tried to make myself aware of what I'm already seeing here in place with you with Promote the Music. For one, there's passion for music amongst all of us. You, as a radio DJ, radio presenter, you have a background, where passion was always requested in order to keep going. Then there's, passion among the audience, the regulars, the listeners. Passion, of course, you have to bring passion to the table as an artist. Passion is number one. Then here's a focus on expanding the community, because I'm not saying building, it's already there, on expanding the community and on expanding and the collaborative efforts, not only expanding them, but making them more efficient. mean, what everybody else is already doing, let's just try to make it more efficient as it already is. Then there's the educational aspect that you mentioned earlier on,
Yes.
which I think is extremely important, because everybody's still locked into the old paradigm of thinking, oh, well, here's an album. It's like, I don't know, $9.99 on iTunes or anywhere. I mean, any of those. I don't mean to favor any of the online stores, Amazon, what have you. I mean, all the, you know what the names are.
They all serve
Or
their
you
purpose.
just,
Yes.
pardon me?
They all serve their purpose.
Yeah. Or you just grab the CD at a live event with the artist actually being in front of you. So it's like, I don't know, $10, $12, $15, you name it. And if not that, some think, well, okay, I can go to this and that URL and just download it for free and burn my CD and there's the music, or I could just load it to my iPod. That's just a fact that we're confronted with. To get away from that, to move away towards something new where we reclaim the value of the creative effort. That is a very important aspect. That is one of the major aspects, actually, that I can't do by myself. I can't do a lot by myself, and everybody else can. But that part, the educational aspect, we need a momentum. We need a community to build that, not only to build that, but to transport it out there and to change the paradigm of thinking. So that's education. Then higher value, I mean, already there, you mentioned some of the things earlier during the show that whenever we basically donate an MP3, it's going to generate something for us in return. There's a higher value from the start and added value as we go along, like the retreats you mentioned, like winning a trip to Costa Rica, all the things you already mentioned on the show. And then there's the leveraging of available technology to make it all happen, which you have been proving successfully. I mean, minus the provider issues. That is something that has been beyond. Well, actually, it was not beyond you. You managed to get that solved as well. So leveraging available technology to meet all those requirements and to make it work. And I think these are things that are already in place for you, for the audience, for me, any of the independent artists, and we can build on that and expand that. And I think it's perfect.
Beautiful. Yes. Well, you need to be a speaker at our educational seminars. Beautifully articulated. So I took notes: marketing, posting, passion, keep attracting people, passion, expanding community because it's already there, becoming efficient, and then making sure the educational is there to support the unlearning of the old and bring in the new. Because it creates a shock in our system. Anytime you mix water with oil, we get uncomfortable. It's human nature. Everybody's got to go through that. So we need to provide the education. And by the way, Tina E. Clark, that we had earlier on the show, is tooling up to bring a tremendous business education for the independent artist from a business perspective. The efficiency side, we got cut off. We didn't get a chance to talk about that. And then the higher values. So no, definitely with you. And you're pre-framing what I want to talk about later, but I'll do it now since I have you online, because this makes for a much better conversation, is the fact that, you and I the other day when I asked you, I said, how many MP3s, by the way, what we're going to do is we're going to be gifting the streaming of the music, but not the MP3s. Okay, the MP3s will be on a membership, very nominal membership monthly fee, for those of you wondering how we're going to do that when we launch in January. Because when we play the triad mix, I was explaining, I'll reiterate what we talked about last week, is a lot of people say, wow, I like that mix. Can I download on my iPod? Well, no, because that's intellectual property of the artist. We have to create a platform where they get compensated. So we will do that. But the first thing is the awareness, the crave. Do I want that music? Yes. So free. You'll be able to listen. Triad Mix is starting this week, what we did on the show. Then the MP3 will be available in the Triad Mix in the future through a small nominal membership. But remember, Wes, what we talked about the other day, I don't know if you remember the numbers. I said, how many MP3s would you have to sell based on the current profit margins to make $48,000 a year as an independent artist?
I remember that very well because it was such an impressive number, and then sometimes you need that shock to make yourself aware of what's going on. So the number is actually 60,000 downloads. I would have to sell 60,000 downloads in order to come out at anything beyond a decent yearly annual income. And to be frank with you, there is no way I'm going to sell that now or anytime soon. So
hold your thought, because I have a maximum of 3 hours on the recorder, so I'm going to pause the recorder and restart it so we can archive the show.